Think you know the Brooks Ghost? Think again. Introducing the all-new, better-than-ever Ghost 16. Now with nitrogen-infused cushioning for lightweight, supreme softness that feels good every step, every street, every single day. So go ahead, take your daily joyride in the all-new nitrogen-infused Ghost 16. It'll turn your everyday miles into everyday endorphins. Let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
Today is 31st of March, 174 days until sunlight returns. So, last night was games night, our first games night of the winter, and Matteo actually did us all proud. He really wants some sort of gold star, doesn't he? Matteo and Johan laid on the whole team bonding importance. Everyone was there. Well, certainly at the beginning of the night, everyone was there. But, to be fair, Matteo had a great opening move. 4 sets of penguin pile-up, lined up on 4 tables. 4. I mean, I'm guessing everyone brings it here on their first time thinking they're the first to make the joke. And of course, the macho types like Jack and Victor, they all shat on it because they read the box and it said age 4 and up. Yet, by the end, they were the ones who were playing for blood. Then someone notices, I think it was Sienna, that Anders is having to play left-handed because of his injury. So then there's this whole other round where everyone's having to play with their wrong hand. Pretty soon everyone's making a mess of it, and even the macho men have to give in and actually laugh. Yeah, it was Sienna. I think, yeah, she definitely clocked that was how to put an end to the triumphalists. I think it's kind of a superpower, you know. She uses that Aussie humour to pull people down. I mean, how do they do it? Are Aussies born with it? Or it's never malicious, and it's often quite funny. I mean, of course, it helps that she is absurdly tall and beautiful. She's got that real outback wit. Yeah. Anyway, back to the night. So next up, Matteo gets us into these longer games, right? And I was volunteered for something called Settlers of Catan. And again, our male hunter-gatherers were not so taken with it, and you have to combine and build roads and towns, and then you trade stuff like wool and timber, and, you know, where's the alpha male in that? Catan's USP is that you don't win by obliterating others. You don't see them reduced to bankruptcy like Monopoly. And the idea is the world sort of becomes a better place, and along the way you happen to accumulate bonus points. Or wanker points, as Mark called them. No, wankers rewards, that's it. Like, being constructive and communitarian is the last thing you're supposed to want. I mean, even Hera tried to make out that she thought it was soft. Maybe she was siding with Mark. Let's watch those two. And anyway, talking of Mark, Anders is obviously still not back to work from his injury. The tension is still ratcheting up, and this is brilliant for my crisis management section of the study, because thus far the crisis is definitely not being managed. I caught them talking about it in the canteen on my device, and the file is logged as file AFS-R290323. And listen to it, it does sound like Anders is pushing it. So for the study, I decided I'd push back a little bit. Just a little prodding, you know. I was asked to provoke after all. I agreed to fetch a crate of beer with Mark from the canteen store. Now, it really doesn't take 2 people, but he didn't notice. And I asked him, you know, just like I was chatting about his extra workload, about how he's managing it. I said, oh, yeah, it must be hard, and how I felt for him. And wow, he went from 0 to 60 instantly. It's all right there. It's bubbling under the surface, raw and churning. It's all ready. I mentioned how Anders is so bored, you know, he's doing anything to keep himself busy. He's made it his mission to watch the entire Sopranos box set in the weekend. And it fucking worked. Mark came flying back into the games room at high speed, anger boiling over. He walked straight over to Anders and asked him to step out into the corridor, like some sort of like old school, you know, do you want to take this outside? Anders, poor fucker, didn't have the faintest idea what was going on. Anyway, the 2 of them step outside. Needless to say, the game did not continue because we could all hear Mark shouting at Anders, and it was so distracting. Anders is just defending himself, saying he was useless, saying he'd try to make it up to Mark. He promised he'd make it up once he was back to work. Of course, Mark asked him how is he going to do that, and like, it's a fair question. How is he going to do that? Anders can't. There's no way. Like, I also think I heard the word Sopranos mentioned, or shouted at least. And then about a minute later, Anders comes back in rather sheepishly, and Mark doesn't return. And Jack checks if Anders is okay, and he just shrugs. Yeah. He just carried on. And the absolutely fascinating bit is that everyone then makes a huge effort to pretend like nothing's happened. They offer him their best Angoras or whatever, and the game just continues like nothing's happening. I think it's really worth observing the desire to sort of smooth things over. It's a very, very strong group ethic. And Mark wasn't seen again for the rest of the night. Nobody asked about him. Fascinating.
Get all the files now. Sign up at coldtapes.com and go ad-free.